All right, hey, welcome to our first session. I'm Thomas. I'm your social worker, and I'm glad you're here today. And I'm glad to look forward to any other future meetings we have. So is there anything on your mind? Any problems or concerns going on right now?
Um, yeah, actually there are. So I live on campus in my dorm room. And a couple days ago, one of my neighbors had friends over when, because of COVID, we're not allowed to have people over. But yeah, she had friends over.
That's very scary and strange that your friends just completely disregarded rules and stuff. I'm curious, if something does like that happen, people are gathering and stuff like that, do you think your school would say something about it? Like if someone reports it, uh, how would your school
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I think the school definitely would do something about it. I mean, it's just like really like scary right now. You have to be very careful about who you hang around and you know, so the fact that my neighbor did bring people over and that she was able to get away with it is kind of like scary.
Okay, but did you end up saying something to them? Did you say go to their apartment?
So I let it slide. I didn't go over and say like, oh, your friend shouldn't be here. Um, but eventually I did end up going over, for another reason.
Okay, how come you went over there after was there a situation where you had a problem with what making you decide to go over there?
Um, okay, so I wasn't gonna go over there, but you know, I could hear through the walls the conversation that they were having, and I didn't like what I was hearing. They were talking about Trump and like how he's a bad person and he's racist and all this crap about him. And I said whatever. I voted uh Democratic too, um but then they started mentioning my friend's name,
Oh,
and they were mentioning his name because they know that I live next door. So they were doing it obviously, um so that I could hear. But they were saying that my friend is racist and that he's a bad person and that you know because he's a Trump supporter he's just racist.
oh, I see. That's very frustrating. But when you went over there, how did you confront them, and how did your neighbors respond when you went over there and confronted them?
So I went over and I told them, listen, like, you know my friend's not racist, he's not a bad person. Yeah, and I thought, I had to defend him. He's my friend. I wasn't going to let them talk badly about him. So I told him, I was like, listen, you know what? If he ever did say anything that made you uncomfortable, or if he, said anything that, racist or anything bad, I apologized on his behalf. But I know what kind of person my friend is. But I never mentioned, I didn't say like, oh, why do you have friends over when you're not supposed to? I kind of just went over to, defend my friend.
Okay. Um, that's good you went over there and stood up for your friend. Um, but do you think you handled the confrontation between you and your neighbor as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think I handle it well. I think I would do what anyone would do to
Mhm.
defend a friend, you know? But yeah, I think I did.
Okay. Um, do you plan on telling your friend what happened with you and your neighbors?
I'm not sure. Maybe I will.
Okay. I mean, if you do end up ultimately like talking to your friend about it, how do you think you would approach him about the situation? And do you think he'll handle it pretty well?
Um, I think yeah, he'll be able to handle it. He is a Republican. He does support Trump, so I'm sure that he um, goes through this whenever he expresses his political views. Um, but I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure he'd be bothered by it, but maybe he'd just brush it off.
Okay, that's good. Um, so like ultimately, like if a similar situation does arise like this, how do you think you would? Do you think you would have done anything differently, or done the same thing, or anything comes to mind?
Um, I think if another one of my neighbors were to bring friends over, I think I would, say something about it because you should be following, rules for not only your safety but everyone else.
Mhm.
Um, and again, if anyone would say anything about my friends that I know isn't true, then I again would defend them.
Okay, that's good. I'm really happy that you're always more than willing to stand up for your friends and back them up no matter what.
Yeah.